you can see yourself seeing yourself.
That's
okay.
good enough.
We'll put preview up first.
Yeah.
Yeah, that works.
Okay, so. I don't know if losses.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so. Just to show some pictures. So yeah, this is your Facebook, is it?
Yeah, so this is something I posted on Facebook when I was traveling in Thailand, and I guess it just gone into a fairly hectic breakup and wasn't having a lot of fun, and something that interests me a lot is the idea of masculinity, and I guess in Australia specifically. This is something I read, and it goes, I think some people are afraid to be sad, or to show how they truly feel. Like they think they're breaking a rule or something. I feel like a lot of people are like, emotions, God, not cool. But I think emotions are cool, like the happy ones and the sad ones. Feel like emotions, you can come home with me. Here is a picture of me just after I finished crying. Maybe I screenshotted it that the wrong way. Oh, there's like a bunch in the middle of that. Anyway, you can maybe find that if you go back through my thing. But that was something that did quite well, I guess. And,
so if they go through your thing, what do you mean? So your Facebook?
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, I'll of them all. You just find you.
Yeah, and this is something I posted more recently, which.
Can you go back to the image though of Oliver there with just him showing that?
No, this one.
Yeah. So what did you find the reaction was? I mean, obviously that's quite there's heaps of comments. Were people were there a lot of men reacting and saying?
Yeah, because I feel like a lot of, especially in the arts community, people are fairly understanding of what it means to be emotional. But then having grown up in Queensland as well, and going to a school potentially where those things are encouraged, I had a lot of friends from school just kind of like, yeah, nice. No, that's good, mate. Like, no, I've got to cry a few times, but I don't really like to talk about it that much. But yeah, no, it's good on you. So I don't know. I just think if there was more of a dialogue, it is obviously more healthy to just show how you're feeling, to not bottle things up. And so that's something I wanted to put out there because, at least in my friendship, you're fairly emotional.
Yeah, I think it's fascinating. It's really brave as well because you saying before like there's no such thing as non-fiction, but at the same time you're putting out something that most people wouldn't.
Yeah.
And you're also using a medium in a completely different way.
Yeah.
To what's I guess intended purposes.
Yeah, and I think when I say that there's no such thing as non-fiction, I think I just mean in narrative. I kind of feel like the reason why I've released my book as non-fiction, even though I think it's all bullshit, is because I believe in emotional truth rather than factual ones.
Right.
So even though fiction can often be and is emotionally true, it's sort of through the experiences or the characters that you create. Whereas if you're trying to do non-fiction, which strictly can't be true, even though that's what books tell you, you can undercut that with an emotional truth. And so that's kind of why I find poetry really fascinating, because I find poetry, you're not trying to create a narrative, you're not trying to do anything other than express exactly how you feel. And if you can do that in prose, which is what I've tried to do by, I guess, mixed poetry and prose, that's more what fascinates me.
Yeah, no, totally. Do you want to read this one? Explain what this one is as well.
So I posted this one recently. Just remember, if you're broke, that's okay. It means you've got nothing to lose. It makes you dangerous, and dangerous equals hot. So, yeah, that's kind of just more about if you're broke, that's fine, and don't worry about it, because just keep doing what you're doing unless you're so broke that you can't eat, and then maybe change what you're doing. And then try again.
Life with Boss with there was one with the rock, wasn't there?
Yeah, and that'll be. So I'll read this first and then explain, I guess, what we were doing on the project I'm involved with at the moment. The thing about the Outback is that the sky looks like this, and when that big old moon comes up, you can see the Milky Way, and it makes your chest want to explode. So this was in the Outback, close to Alice Springs. I forget where specifically. Close by. Anyway, so a project that me and three of my friends started recently is called the Adventure Handbook. we're trying to redefine what travel writing is. A lot of travel writing for us seems privileged and dumb and full of adjectives, and generally for old white people who can afford to skip off to Rome. And so what we've started, we've got Facebook coming up soon, but we started just with an Instagram. So we approach photographers to send us images and then to contribute words. And so I've started that now with Facebook. So we have a feature writer each week. The only idea is that you have to have gone somewhere. That could be into the shops, it could be to Adelaide, it could be to the moon, wherever. Probably not the moon.
Well, the moon would be a good one.
But if you do get in contact. And so, yeah, the idea is just to do 200-piece microfictions, which we publish on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And yeah, basically just telling us where you went, what happened, and how you felt, because I want to know how you feel. I want to know emotionally what has been going on.
Do you reckon we could bring up Instagram?
Yeah.
Just go to the webpage. It'd be instagram.com/adventure.
Adventure Handbook. Or if you just Google Adventure Handbook Instagram.
Yeah.
Adventure?
Nice.
So yeah, we went on a and,
Is it adventure?
I probably just Google it. I'm not sure. It might be the Adventure Handbook. And it was really great to work collaboratively with my friends, because they're really amazing photographers, and the guy's a graphic designer. And so this is sort of our Instagram. Cool, yeah. But if you scroll down, that loads. Down. Really getting close. Yeah, so if you go down a little bit further. Yeah, start with that one. So that's my friend Ryan Kenny up in a tree. And he wrote, my uncle gave me some moonshine for the trip. Last night the moon was shining. It's a supermoon tonight. I haven't had the chance to read my horoscope, but I assume last night was about facing my fears. And then if you go to the next one. Maybe go to the next one.
Is this the one that you did?
I'm trying to find... Yeah, go to the next. I think you're going the wrong way there. You should have set this up before.
Yeah.
If you just go... Actually, just go forward, like 5 times. Yeah. Maybe one more. Yeah, okay, so this is... I'll read this one. This is a good one. There should be more text there, though. Is there an option to get more text?
Maybe you have to follow.
Okay, cool. Alright, so this is a photo that we took at about 2 a.m. The Fuji camera that Fuji sponsored this week. Spring. My girlfriend told me the supermoon was coming. We were all like, supermoon! When we got out of the car, the moon was all big, and we ran around the desert like children. We ran around yelling and hollering like we did when we were younger, so bright that we became the sky. The sky. We became the sky and looked down on ourselves, on a bunch of kids covered in dirt. And it felt insane. Oh, that's better. And it felt insane. We saw where we were, and we said, insane. This feels insane. So yeah, I guess it's just acknowledging how you feel, because that's what I'm most interested in, and then we're trying to collaborate with a bunch of young people.
When you upload stuff to Facebook or to Instagram, do you spend a lot of time on the comments? Is it one that you think about, or is it you just put the image up and you go, oh, this is me eating a pizza? Like, what do you put stuff on it as well? Like, is it a conscious decision? Yeah.
Because you guys are the generation, like, I'm the last generation that's going to remember life before internet. Like, my generation's the last group of people that are going to, remember even, like, the internet not existing. And so you guys probably don't even remember dial tone, right? Like, the dial-up internet and
remember?
stuff. A couple of them. Okay, well, at the same time, like, what you guys have got coming up is even more wild, because you're gonna you are so much more savvy than even what a few maybe half a people that are 5 to 10 years older than me. Since the Industrial Revolution, and what is happening now, what even we're doing now is probably old news, and there's new stuff happening all the time. I think just the message behind what we're trying to do is that you should be using these opportunities, sort of shying away from using the internet. They're like, yeah, there's the internet and whatever, let's talk about books that are published 100 years ago. And I think there's validity in that. You should be reading old people because they
Usually, I was referencing September 11. You said it before. I was referencing in class the other day, and I realised that the kids in my classroom weren't alive.
Yeah, born after.
They were born after that time. So text is and where it comes from, what it does.
So yeah, for me, alt-lit is so writing published on the internet or involved. 9/11, because I grew up in America and I was there when 9/11 happened, and there was sort of this idea that you could do and become anything if you worked hard, you could achieve, and that was sort of this ethos that since I in America, and I don't know a whole lot about it, I couldn't speak extensively about it, but I feel like since 9/11 and since I guess no better word than terrorism. And so writers like Noah Cicero, who is considered, I guess, one of the godfathers of alt-lit, he sort of began writing, and I think he had his first sort of wars that were happening, and the fear that people were feeling, and so he was one of the first writers, I guess, that maybe coin the term, start writing in this was Walt Whitman-esque reductive style, but
and it's a relatively new thing to Australia as well. You're saying, I guess.
Yeah, totally. And I mean, there's people like Holly Childs, who's just released a book, which is done fairly well, I think. And so she sort of speaks in, I think, what she describes as like a sugar rush. And she makes them up, and like how would you describe it? Zebra?
Yeah, well, it's just kind of like, it's like eating. Yeah, very different experience to reading it in a straightforward manner.
Yeah, I found a lot of similarities in the Lifted Brows reading on SoundCloud last night, and how that was all playing out as to how Child sort of writes poems and
I guess going back to basics of like each individual platform. So you're obviously a big fan of Facebook and Instagram.
Yep.
We haven't talked much about Twitter. What's one of the benefits you reckon of using Twitter as I guess firstly as a publishing platform, but also as a social platform for media people?
Well, Twitter's great because essentially it is the most effective way with which news can travel. So all you need, like as you probably all know, if you have Twitter, there's a few people to retweet something that opens you up from 50 or 100 or 600 or however many followers you have to more or less infinite, depending on how many people retweet it. So on that level, it's pretty incredible. As a publishing platform, it's also exciting. There's been a few people, I guess, who have published novels using, within the 160 characters. They've been publishing entire novels through that, which I think is a fun experiment. But it's from maybe not using the medium kind of way it was designed.
You seen the one that tweets every day in history?
No.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, so but also as a social, I mean, it's interesting because this is the third time I've come to the Michigan Writers Festival, and the amount of conversations that start with, "Oh, I know you're on Twitter,"
Yeah.
or "Oh, that's who I am."
Yeah.
Because sometimes if you're in a school or you're in an area where there's not a lot of people that are into writing, it's the easiest way to find people that like the same thing.
Totally. Yeah, and it's fun because where before pre-Twitter, I guess, if you wanted to get in contact with someone you liked or some author or even musician or whoever that you believed in and wanted to contact you to find out, I guess, where they lived and write a letter, whoever they got there, or contact their agent who maybe could give you their email to send an email. But now with Twitter, you can literally just look anyone up and be like, "Hey, so and so, like your stuff," and they might be like, "Cool, man, thanks a lot," and then you might get a follow. Which means nothing, actually.
Speaking of Twitter, Will's just walked in. He's a big fan of Twitter.
Well,
So this is Will, who's going to be involved with us tomorrow for the exclusive workshop. I'll catch up with him later. Has anyone got any questions about Twitter or social media at all that they'll ask? Just general information about how to use it as a platform, or something that Oliver's written or anything like that? Any questions? I guess we could talk about Facebook. I mean, sorry, we talk about other people. Is there anyone else that's doing stuff on Twitter, Facebook that you find interesting?
Yeah, there's a girl named Rachel Petticoat Bell who's from Chicago, and she's probably publishing some of the most exciting prose poetry, in my opinion, online at the moment. So yeah, she's I'm not sure how old she is. She's young. She's probably around my age, maybe a little bit younger. And she just did it across she just drove from Chicago, I think, to LA. So she's working on the Venture Handbook for our website when it launches. She's going to be doing a sort of multimedia story that will involve photos, screenshots of her notes, screenshots of Twitter, screenshots of Skype, and conversations that she's had with people along the way, along with her poetry and prose underneath, sort of all rolling into one.
Does that happen often, you think, where people are taking things online, offline?
Yeah. Well, there's another guy named Scott McClanahan, who's probably one of my favourite writers in the world, and I'd maybe argue as probably one of the best writers under 35 living. And he's from West Virginia in America, and he's written a few books. He's written Carpaccio, and he's also written Hill William. And so what he's been doing, which I've been hugely influenced by, is within a narrative, using photos that he's taken to illustrate a point. So he'll kind of be like, I was doing this and I went there and then they said that and then I gave a thumbs up and it looked like this, and then there'll be a photo of him making a grin with his doing a thumbs up. And then I guess he's also, and his wife, they recently got married to the cross American trip, and they both had photos and screenshots and other things, maybe Twitter, but there's sort of a couple that are collaboratively using these new mediums and reworking them into narrative. And I think in Scott's next book, kind of like mine, we're both going to be using that or screenshots of stuff to illustrate and sort of blend the idea of real life and internet life, because there's really a difference, and it seems astounding to me. It's 2014 and there's no book currently out there that has a screenshot of Twitter, given how we use it every day.
It was kind of interesting. What was the one that won the Pulitzer supposedly? That was called Visitors to the Ruin Squad. Did you ever read that?
Yeah, I never got around to it, but I heard about it.
Yeah, and then you get towards the end of it, and there's like a PowerPoint presentation.
Yeah.
And I thought that was the first time I'd ever actually seen in a book that they intentionally put a piece of technology in there. It was effective. Talking about screenshots before, I'm glad we don't have one. But last night we were talking about your naked idea.
Yeah.
Do you want to explain that a little bit?
Yeah. So
because it's interesting.
I got a friend to take a photo of me naked, and I put it on the internet. So I was standing up, and I used to get a lot of headaches before, and I didn't realise that I needed glasses. And I always found that if I elevated my laptop, and I could probably type for 30 minutes without having a migraine. And so when I was trying to finish my book and I was working really hard and I didn't have any money or time to go to the optometrist. And so I was doing a lot of writing, and that if I stood and put my laptop in a cupboard, then I could effectively write. And I don't know why I was naked. We probably don't need to go into it, but my friend ended up taking a photo, and then I said, "Cool, that's a cool photo. Can I have that photo?" She said,
You
yes.
should clarify. It's from the back. It's from the back.
It's from the back. It's from the back. And so then I posted that on Facebook with a caption that sort of said how you should be writing honestly, and you should be thinking about emotion, how you feel, and how that's more important than plot, and how stories can have weight and can resonate with an audience when you're speaking directly to them and they know that you're not kidding around. Then I sort of made the comparison between honesty and being naked, and then the photo was there as well. So that might be published as a scaffold in my book. So like working out the finer details. But then, Samantha Van Sweden, who is an editor at Writer's Block, she contacted me. We sort of had this collaborative idea that I was going to ask 10 writers from around the world that I was really into guys and girls to send me a shot of them naked from the back, and then to come up with a blurb about their writing process. And that was going to go ahead, and then I just got so incredibly busy that I haven't had a chance to sort of do it. But it might be something we look to doing.
It's an interesting idea because you're talking about social media, and it's you're not an avatar. It's you. But at the same time, people aren't ever naked.
Yeah.
You know, they decide what they put up there. They kind of curate.
It's all curated. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a curated platform. So yeah, I think what you're doing is really interesting in terms of using social media as a publishing platform, and I wanted to say thank you for coming on and having a chat. Does anyone have any questions about how to use any of those platforms, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, as a publishing platform at all?
Has anyone used it at all in the ways we've been talking about, or thought about it?
Or Tumblr?
No. Cool.
Thank you, everyone. Thank all of them. Thank you. Yes.